What's up, guys? I'm Carly.
And I'm Gabby.
So, if this is your first time seeing our channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button to see more of our future posts and click the notification bell to get notified every single time we post, and follow us on our Instagram at Qoath.horror.
So we have a very exciting video today. As you all know, we're under quarantine. We just, finished our junior year of college. So what better way to explore horror movies than right now? We're going to be each giving you 3 horror movies that we have recently discovered and loved. And without further ado, let's get started.
Little disclaimer, I have my microphone right here, so I'm going to be holding it, and sorry if that's a little bit distracting, but I want you guys to hear me, so good. All right, so the first movie that I will be talking about that I watched a couple of weeks ago is CHUD in 1984. Now, this is actually a really, really, really good movie, and I actually went into it not thinking it was going to be that eventful, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of monster type movies, but it is sci-fi, so I was like, okay, maybe I got it. So my thing is, I've been trying to expose myself more into the 80s era, and I know, shocker, I don't know the 80s, but I just know the cliche 80s, the ones that are released on Arrow Video. I haven't watched those, so I've been trying to expose myself to those, and Chud is one of them, and it is so good. The story is so consistent. It is a sci-fi monster film in the 80s, early 80s, and this movie revolves around a photographer who becomes aware of these cannibalistic creatures that live under the sewer, and he teams up with a bunch of other members of the community, such as the policemen, to basically fight off these creatures. And these creatures are so well designed. They're kind of nauseating to look at, and like in my opinion, they're so greasy and grimy, and they live in the sewer. And honestly, the setting of it takes place in the city. I don't know if it's New York City, but it's in an urban area, so it looks like the city. Maybe it is New York City, I don't know. I'll put the little title link here when I figure it out. And the acting was very good in this film, which is actually kind of shocker for 80s film, because 80 cheese is a trend. So the acting was very good, and I highly recommend it if you want to get into monster, cannibal, 80s. It's a great combination, great mix.
So the first movie that I watched is relatively recent. It was from 2 weeks ago. I watched, and I've been meaning to watch this movie for so long, and I'm so happy I did. It is Tourist Trap 1979. Now, this movie is one of the most diamond in the rough movies in slasher, and when I say that, it is because it is one of the most beautiful slasher movies that I have seen, and yet it is a hidden gem under all of the other popular slashers in the 70s and 80s. And it's so unfortunate because this movie is so unique. From the story, as simple as it is so effective, from the story to the acting to the setting. Now, the setting of this movie is what makes it so gorgeous, because it really sets the bar high with the very creepy soundtrack. And as we all know from the poster, the mannequins. Now, the mannequins in this movie will make your skin crawl. That is the highlight of the movie because of the way that it drives the entire plot. It is so well done, and it makes me so upset that not a lot of people rave about Tourist Trap, but I am such a huge fan, no matter how cheesy it can be at times. This movie is so good, so please watch it.
So the next film that I'm going to talk about is yet again in the 80s era. It is called The Stuff, 1985. Okay, you guys, I love this movie. This movie, the plot is so simple. The antagonist, the killer, the thing that's killing people, is literally an inanimate object. Well, it starts to become alive, but it's just so amazing how the director was able to take something that looks like ice cream and made it scary and something that can kill you. It's literally, the story, it's so funny, it's very entertaining, and the child actor in it is phenomenal. I gave this movie a whole 10 out of 10 because I was entertained the entire time. And I'm not gonna lie, some 80s movies, they take me a while to get through, just because I'm okay, it's kind of all the same. I don't know, no offense, but this film was so good. And it is also yet again a science fiction movie, which I find myself leading towards a lot lately. I know 80s is very slasher, yes, but the 80s science fiction vibe, you guys have to get on that. The stuff is so good. Also, the colors are very pretty because it's pink and purple. watch it.
So this next movie that I've watched, I have been eyeing for so long because I've always been fascinated by the history behind the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster explosion that happened in Ukraine. And this movie revolves around that. It is Chernobyl Diaries 2012. Now, this is a found footage movie, and it is one of the hidden gems that I praise and love in found footage because we all know not my favorite subgenre of horror, with a few exceptions, and this is one of them. This movie, it surprised me to the next level. It was so well executed, and Chernobyl Diaries was so authentic, not in terms of the horror elements, because obviously the horror elements might be a bit exploitative towards the victims of the radiation situation that happened. But this movie was filmed on the exact location of the ghost town in Pripyat, Ukraine, where the nuclear disaster occurred in the next town in Chernobyl. The fact that these people went to such a dangerous area that has radiation to film this movie made it so authentic. And I praise the actors and the crew for doing so, because that is what took this movie, this found footage movie, to the next level, and what made me feel like I was there and I was being demonized by mutants, and I have never been more terrified in my life. I mean, yes, I have been, but this movie is just so genius with the way that they took such a simple plot of tourists going to Chernobyl in Ukraine, and they made it so horrifying to the point where you're like, how do people visit such a place? And seeing the actual scenic location of this abandoned ghost town in Pripyat was just like history unfolding, even though of course it was horror based. It was still so incredible. I just want to rewatch it right now. So if you haven't seen this movie, please watch it and go in with an open mind. And I know it might be exploitative, but I feel like you can overlook that and enjoy this movie so much.
That sounds really good. I definitely want to check that out. So the last movie that I'm going to be mentioning for this video is called Doom Asylum. Now, this movie already, like when I saw it, the title got me intrigued. Oh, and it's from 1987 because, we're keeping up with the 80s trend because that's like my mission right now. So it's from the late 80s, and the title was already intriguing to me because I love anything that takes place at an asylum, sanitarium, mental hospital, psych ward. Oh, so good. So basically, this is a horror comedy. Now, my thing with horror comedies, I get very stiff with them because I need to make sure that the comedy is enforced, and there are a select few of horror comedies that I do adore, and this one is so much fun. It is so silly. The acting is horrible. But it's literally so much fun. Like, it's an hour and 30 minutes or 26 minutes, around that range. It's like that long, full of like fun, vibey 80s energy. It's so silly. It pays homages to a lot of like other like earlier slashers. You can see there's also like a mini homage to Freddy Krueger. There's a lot of one-liners where he's like trying to be like Freddy Krueger. It's just very like satirical, and I love it. I love like satire, and like funny things, because like I love humor. So if you want like a good, it's so bad that it's so good. Like, it's like literally like that. You watch the movie and you're like, why is this bad but good? Like, oh my God, it's so entertaining. Like, if you just want to be like entertained, not like take horror too seriously, it's a good movie to watch. Definitely. And it also takes place. Oh, the best part, I forgot to mention this. The best part about this movie as like a whole, it takes place in a real abandoned asylum. That's what the setting is. One thing I didn't like is it was during the daytime, but I also think that's like kind of different because a lot of horror movies, the lighting's very dark, it's very spooky, but it was all during the day, which I kind of found like a little different. But I didn't really like it, but like I'm kind of like appreciating it now as I speak, I guess, because it's like different, so it's kind of cool. But the setting, so good, so good. Definitely recommend it. Doom Asylum 1987. Watch it. It's so much fun. You won't regret it. It's so silly and bad.
Quick little thing, as you guys just heard with our last reviews, when a horror movie actually dedicates itself with the setting to make it at the real place, it just makes the movie so much more authentic, and it allows the audience to actually feel like we're there. And that's what lets it stand out. It doesn't matter if it's a scary movie, a silly movie, I don't care what genre of movie. If the setting is actually legit with the plot or with whatever's going on, it's you just gotta praise them. So the last movie on my list is a modern horror movie. It's from 2018. It is a sci-fi horror movie, and it takes place on Christmas Day. It is called Await Further Instructions. This is one of the best and most unique and creative movies, especially for sci-fi that I have ever seen. Sci-fi is one of the best genres, subgenres, whatever you want to call it. And this movie took this genre to the next level. The setting was in a house, but the way that the sci-fi elements were brought into this house, I really praise the writers of this movie for bringing forth such a messed up plot and the way that the characters interacted with each other in this claustrophobic plot of you don't know what's going on, you don't know what is happening, it really set me on edge. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. And can I just say, the visuals of this sci-fi horror movie, wow. I can't express how beautiful this movie is. Yes, it's creepy. Yes, it's mysterious. Yes, it gives you chills all over your body. Yes, it makes you anxious, but the way that everything looks with the colors and the atmosphere and the setting is so gorgeous. You just want to be there, even though it's not this ideal situation. This is one of the most underrated horror movies in general. Not a single soul has talked about this movie. It's on Netflix. Please watch it. You will know what I'm talking about when I tell you it's unique and it's very never been done before type of sci-fi horror, in my opinion. So I love this movie so much. Please watch it. You will not be disappointed.
So that is all for this video. You got 6 movies laid out for you, to watch during quarantine. Definitely let us know if you watched them. Let us know your thoughts. If you love them, then that's great. If you didn't like them so much, that's also fine too. We love to hear your opinions. Very respectful opinions, of course. We're huge advocates for that. So let us know in the comments below if you've seen these movies, if you're thinking about watching them. And yeah, we'll hit you guys with another video very soon.
We hope you guys stay super safe, happy, and healthy. We love you, and have a great day. Bye.